Welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob here. Out of the gate, I want to make a quick note. Fantasy football is dumb. It's stupid. I hate it. But I still play it every year. It's
All right. Let me guess. Nick Chubb.
Yep.
Okay. There's another running back that went down. Saquon.
Yep.
Quarterback. I don't think any major quarterback injuries have happened. And you probably didn't have Anthony Richardson, maybe a bench player. Did you have Anthony Richardson on your bench?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
So let me guess. Your starter's Joe Burrow?
No.
Okay.
No. Hey, you
Have
know
any
who it was?
receivers?
You know who it was?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers did get hurt. Fuck.
So granted, I am like cherry picking a bit here because I'm in 3 different fantasy leagues.
Oh,
But
okay.
so if the Yahoo league that I'm in, I haven't been hit with the injury bug yet. So like excluding the Yahoo league, I have our family league where it's like it's our family, right? It's through ESPN. So in my ESPN league, I had Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb. Those are my first 2 draft picks in the draft. Saquon, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb may not play football again. And Saquon just fucking busted his ankle. So my first 2 draft picks, my top 2 running backs, gone, done. One of them's gone for the year. One of them is gone for, I'm seeing at least 3 weeks. My quarterback in that league is Trevor Lawrence, who put up 9 points this weekend.
Yeah, weird game. That was a weird game.
Yeah, and my wide receiver in that league
Deontay
is
Johnson.
Brandon Ayuk,
Did he get
who
hurt?
separated his shoulder or AC joint sprain. He might not play because they have a Thursday night game this
Thursday
week.
game.
Yep. So he's probably not going to play Thursday.
Sick.
So then if you go into the sleeper league that I joined with Nick through the Stop and Shop crew, I had Deontay Johnson.
Yep.
Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
That was Aaron Rodgers. That was my
Yep.
quarterback there, Aaron Rodgers. Let's see who else.
Have any tight ends been fucking cleaned up?
No, I don't think. Well, I had Darren Waller, and Darren Waller didn't, or I didn't play him last week because he was questionable, and he ended up playing. So I played him this week, and he was fine. But Justin Fields is my quarterback in the Stop and Shop league.
Ew.
Yeah, it was right. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Is he hurt?
He had 2 injuries. He rolled his ankle and then he got turf toe. So that's pretty sick. So yeah, Deontay Johnson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Fields in the Stop and Shop league.
Not to brag, but I'm 4 years clean.
Yeah, it's
This is why I don't do it. No, so never mind that. It seems like one of my people always get hurt. It seems like my player selection strategy is never good. And it's honestly like my player selection strategy was probably just too opinionated. Like if I didn't like, who do I not like? Who's someone I don't like right now?
Deontay Johnson.
No, he's fine.
I don't like him.
No, it's got to be someone like that's actually good though. But like I don't like something about them. And now it's hard because running backs don't seem it's right now like the top 8 running backs are all like actually hurt right now.
Right.
But let's say let's just say it was like Saquon going into the year. And it's like, you know what? I just don't like, I don't really know. He seems to get hurt like a lot, and it's like, I don't know about that Giants offense. And then like I wouldn't have taken him because of that. And it's like that logic wasn't very good. Now, that's not a good example. So here's one, like Zeke. Like
right.
when Zeke was good. So rewind like 3 years ago.
Right.
I would have looked at it like, okay, well, he's coming off a year where he like led the league kind of in rushing. I'm not going to take him. And then there's like Pollard's there, and it's like he kind of is like good. Plus, it's like I don't know if I really believe in Dak or the Cowboys, so I'm gonna skip on Zeke. And he leads the league in rushing again with like fucking 12, 13 touchdowns. Or
Yeah.
Eckler.
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, how long can Eckler really keep up what he does? Like, I don't
Yeah.
believe in Eckler. Like, he would have been a guy that I would skip over every single year. Austin Eckler.
I did that last
Absolutely.
year. So
Yeah.
last year in the family
Oh,
league,
you big brain that one. I
I
know.
had the number 1 overall pick, and I big brained it and was like, oh, I'm going to take Najee Harris.
He sucks.
He sucks. He is fucking terrible. The number 1 overall pick. It's like, oh, you're going to take Christian McCaffrey? No, Christian McCaffrey's been hurt. So in my defense, I got burned in the 2 years prior. So I think the year before in the family league, maybe I had Christian McCaffrey. That might have been my first year in the family league, but I had Christian McCaffrey, and that's what he was hurt for half the season. So then I traded him away, and he came back like the last like 4 or 5 weeks and averaged like 21 points a game for the last like 5 weeks after I traded him away. And then I had him, maybe I had him in one of our leagues, like before we disbanded our fantasy, and I had McCaffrey and he got hurt again. So I had McCaffrey twice, and both times I had him, he got hurt. So me looking at the number 1 overall pick being like, no, fuck Christian McCaffrey. Every time I take him, he's awful. He gets hurt. And I was like, Najee Harris, he's young. He's an Alabama running back. He's got a rookie quarterback. Well, this was last year. So they're going to pound the ball. You know, he doesn't have any competition. It's just him. Lo and behold, Jalen Warren is probably better than him now.
He looks better than him.
Yeah. But like at the time, I was like, you know what? Najee is the pick. Like he's the one, he's going to be the guy that everyone like kind of looks over, and he ends up being like a top 2-3 running back in the league. Nope, you're retarded. Christian McCaffrey is a fucking stud. Doesn't get hurt at all last year. I think Austin Eckler ended as the RB1. And McCaffrey might have been the RB2. Najee Harris might have been like the fucking RB12. Like, so yeah, technically he was an RB1, right? Like as from starting perspective, because I think they ranked them like 1 through 12 is the RB1, 13 through 24 would be considered an RB2, right? Your slot wise for people that aren't familiar with fantasy, because you have two running back positions typically. So, you know, I blew the number 1 overall pick on like the RB12 of the year, like the lowest possible starting running back that you could have, right? Before you get into like the second level running back. Yeah. So fuck fantasy. It's annoying. I hate it so much. There's literally nothing I can do to ever do anything right with it. I mean, granted, so last year in the family league, I GM'd the shit out of my team throughout the year. I ended up trading Najee for like James Conner and some maybe Brandon Ayuk. And James Conner absolutely fucking lit it up at the end of the season. I made another trade that worked out for me. And then I picked up some good free agents. Like I picked up a guy like 2 weeks before he like broke out. So I ended up making it to the finals. I lost to Nick. Well, technically we kind of split the pot because it came down to the Bills Bengals game, and they just canceled the game, and I had Jamar Chase on my team. So I think I took the loss, but I think we split the money or something like that. So I did make it to the finals last year because, again, I had to GM the fucking hell out of my team throughout the season. But I don't know. I can't, when it comes to the draft, like, I just can't do anything right. Again, like this year, I will say this year in the family league, I went Saquon, Nick Chubb, Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are my first 3 picks. I went running back, running back, running back. Now, obviously, Chubb is dead. Saquon is out for like probably 3 weeks. And now Jahmyr Gibbs looks like he's going to be the number 1 running back in Detroit because David Montgomery just fucked up his knee, I think. And he told reporters like, yeah, I'm probably going to be out for a couple of weeks. Versus Dan Campbell was like, oh, no, I think he's fine. But so Gibbs should be fine. And then later,
I would say, the grossest part about losing Chubb and Barkley? The options behind them are not good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jerome Ford, maybe we'll see.
I think it's
Schematically,
more of the offensive line in Cleveland. Like, I don't
well, I was
think
gonna say
Jerome
that's why
Ford is a good running back.
I think schematically it might work out okay.
Yeah, but I think
But, like, you don't want Matt Breida.
you can put Sony Michel on the Browns right now, and he's gonna fucking do well, right? Like their offensive line is
And
absolutely fucking
and
outrageous.
Stefanski came from what, Minnesota?
Minnesota, yeah.
Who's that under?
Kevin O'Connell.
No, because wait, no, Stefanski was been there too long. Because Kevin O'Connell is only like his second year. Who who's the head coach then? They were
Oh
good.
shit. Who was it before Kevin O'Connell?
Oh,
Let's see.
I cannot think of who it was.
I'm gonna see it and be like, wow, what a fucking
And I got
moron.
to think of and then double back on who the OC actually was, because I think that's who was more important.
Oh, Mike Zimmer.
He was the head coach. So was Pat Shurmur the OC? And then that Pat Shurmur went to the Giants and was a terrible, terrible coach.
Yes, that's what happened there.
Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
Yep. And then Stefanski took over. So Stefanski was the offensive coordinator
When
under Mike Zimmer.
Okay. So yeah, like he had that offense rolling. Defense need not apply.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, schematically and then personnel wise, I know they lost Jack Conklin. I don't know who's playing right tackle, but they should be able to effectively, like, that's the thing with the NFL that a lot of people like forget is like Nick Chubb is really, really, really good. He is. But
I saw they
if
put up
that
a graphic on the game last night of all time in NFL history. He has the third most yards per carry.
which is a testament to him, but it's also a testament to that somebody can block for him.
Right.
Because you put him in the Patriots backfield right now, and that's
yeah.
not going to be the case.
Right. That's true too.
So it's like one of those things. It's almost like the same thing as like, so I assume you're trying to pick him up, right? Ford.
Yeah, I put a waiver claim on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get him. But
it's like one of those things. Like, how bad does Jerome Ford have to really be, like, ability wise, for him to not step in there and at least be serviceable? He doesn't have to be good, and he's like, he might be like a 2, like in that 13 to 24 range, but like he would have to be mentally challenged to not be a serviceable back, and a serviceable back. So he's gonna get theoretically what, 15 starts? No, 14 starts, because they still.
Well, I just saw on Twitter
17
that they have Kareem
there,
Hunt. It might come back.
I mean,
which was kind of a bummer because, again, I thought I was going to big brain everyone and be able to pick up Pierre Strong, thinking that, like, but again, playing the game of like you're one injury away from Pierre Strong being your running back.
Yeah, but Pierre Strong's like, he's not, like, I don't know what Jerome Ford is. I just assume he's next.
Yeah.
Pierre Strong ain't that kind of back.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever. But yeah, anyway, so the point I was trying to make was like, it's the same thing as like point spread. So it's like if Nick Chubb is worth like half a point to the spread or 0.35 to the spread, then his replacement in fantasy is probably going to be close, because I think it comes, and this was going to be something I got to anyway. Kind of comes down to a little bit of like usage and situations. Now, this is where I've determined that I'm not going to go back to fantasy, because there are people breaking down usage and routes and like so running backs. It's like, well, how many snaps and how many routes and how many touches and what's the usage percentage, and like there's just so many metrics that I'm like, if people who are winning fantasy are using all these things, I'm not willing to do that. Now, I understand in a family league or a work league or like a friends league, people probably aren't doing that. But I can't sit here and be like, well, there are people who are pretty good at this, and this is the shit they're looking at. I go, how can I not look at that and enter this league? So I'll just not enter the league.
Right. Right.
And people are like, oh, it's supposed to be for fun. It's like, I don't find it fun. It's not fun to me. Fantasy football has never been fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was in a
Pain in
shitty
the ass.
league I don't know if I was in a shitty league for too long, but no. I never won. The one year I won, I auto drafted. Like all those years of drafting and getting magazines and crossing people out and figuring out who's good and going through camp and all this shit. The one year I won, I fucking won going away. I kicked the ever living shit out of everybody. Auto drafted team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, it's not fun. It's luck. Yeah, you can fuck it up, but like, that's the thing is like, you can fuck up your team with bad GMing and bad drafting, but it's all about luck as who's going to win.
Well, yeah, because my Yahoo team, the one that I'm in with my buddy Neil and his friends, it's like that was the team that after I drafted it, I was like, I kind of don't really love this team. I had like the 7th overall pick, which was funny because in every other draft, I think every other draft I had like the 10th or the 11th pick, whether it was a 10-man or a 12-man league. This one I had 7, so I came away with Bijan Robinson. But my team is like on paper kind of lackluster, right? Like Tua is my quarterback, but Tua lit it up. The at least in week 1. I think he had a decent week 2. But week 1 he threw for like 400 yards or something. Then it's like Chris Olave, Jordan Addison are my wide receivers because Deontay Johnson got hurt. Jordan Addison has come alive already. Chris Olave is a stud. Then I have Bijan Robinson and Joe Mixon. And it was like everyone kind of knew that Bijan was going to be a stud, but like no one really knew what Joe Mixon was going to be because he had like pending legal charges and like, is he getting old? Can he, do whatever? And now the Cincinnati offense looks like dog shit, but in the first 2 weeks, he put up 10 and 14 points. So that's fine from my second string running back, right? Because Bijan is my number 1. Then Darren Waller is my tight end. And then like all my other guys are like Jahan Dotson, Tutu Atwell, Jalen Warren, Roshan Johnson, and Josh Reynolds. And like Josh Reynolds just had a fucking 24-point week. Roshan Johnson has made his way to the backup to Khalil Herbert, which some people are thinking like he might take over the top spot there. He's just a rookie.
I don't even know who the fuck this is.
Roshan was I think he was Bijan Robinson's backup at Texas.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Where is he now? Chicago?
Chicago, yeah. But like Tutu Atwell gets like fucking 12 targets a game.
Never would have drafted him. No, he would have been a guy and I would have looked at and go, no chance.
Yeah.
I go, all he's gonna be is fucking Kiki QT. That's it.
Yeah. And then like Jalen Warren looks better than Najee. So like after the draft, I was like, man, I kind of don't really love this team. Like I think I kind of fucked it up a little bit.
Who's the other guy for the fucking Rams?
Puka Nacua.
Oh, Puka Nacua. I'm like Nuka. Nuka Pua.
Yeah.
You bitch. Yeah, so the state fish of Hawaii is playing football for the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got fucking Tutu Atwell and fucking Puka Nacua running around.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Tutu and Puka. The fuck.
I wouldn't have drafted either of those guys just out of principle.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah. So apparently I just need to do what I think is dumb. Right? Like drafting Tua. I think I got Tua in like the 11th round. And I was like, how has no one drafted Tua?
Yep, I wouldn't have drafted Tua either.
And everyone's like, oh, he's one hit away. And it's like, yeah, he's one hit away, but like
everyone's one hit away.
He's a good quarterback. Like when it comes to fantasy, at least, he's a very good quarterback because he's throwing the ball to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. All you have to do is hit them on like a 8-yard slant and they'll take it for another
Yeah, it could be
35
gone.
yards. Like you don't need to go crazy there. So, and that's the thing, right? Like that's fantasy football. So the team that I didn't really like after the draft is my best team right now. And it has guys that are like basically the only ones left that are standing because all my other leagues, my guys are hurt.
Just like when you're picking bets, it's like the bet you like the most always is the one that makes me the most skeptical.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't wait to fade Colorado. Well, they were playing Nebraska, and I go, ah, shit, they're not playing Nebraska. They would have covered. Colorado covered, or actually, I'm sorry, they did cover. It's not an issue.
Yeah.
Covered by a ton.
Yeah.
Couple of the NFLs. Like I do have a better feel for NFL, so it's like I had some very strong opinions going into week 1. And like one was like, I don't get the Lions hype. Don't get that one bit. Nope, not at all. Well, they beat the fucking Chiefs outright. But then I said the same thing about
I hit that money line. I
what
took
was
the
the one I
Lions.
got right?
I took the Lions money line.
Fuck. There was another bet that was like there ended up being 4. And so I got the ones I got wrong with the Lions and the Jets. I'm like, I don't see the Jets hype. Even with Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, I don't get it. Well, now we'll never know if I was right or wrong about that, but they still won that game. But then they were the Commanders, they played the Cardinals, and like the entire fucking country was on
The
Washington.
Commanders. Yeah.
And I go, I don't get that one bit. Don't get it. Don't understand it. Understood. I get how bad Arizona's supposed to be, but like this is still a fucking NFL football team.
Right. Right.
And then there was another game like that. But yeah, usually it's like if you feel really, really good about something, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, watch out.
It's usually not that easy.
Yeah, usually a bad sign.
Yeah, unless something like unless you have info that's not readily available.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. But how often does that happen?
To most people, never ever.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, like literally never.
Yeah, like the only reason sometimes I get info is because if I listen to like a certain podcast, like there's a guy that actually does have inside info and he actually does.
Right. Right. So yeah, that's that. That's fantasy. It's annoying. I hate it. But I'll still play it every year because I'm a fucking moron.
4 years clean. Do I get a poker chip or something for that?
Yeah, what do you get for 4 years clean there?
I don't
know. So in other news, I think I got something interesting that I think is pretty cool. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the rest of the world because it also is in France, right? And we know that like France is a bunch of fucking pussies. So let me just get to it and then we'll kind of, go from there. So last week, France has banned plant-based meat from using meat words on their packaging. So like vegan steak is no longer allowed to be written on packaging in France. So like all of these like Beyond Meat burger, like you can't say it's a Beyond Meat burger. You have to say like, well, that's a weird one because the company's name is Beyond Meat. So truthfully, I don't know the logistics behind that. But what I do know is that they pass new laws that prevent, they call deceptive packaging. Right. So like I said, you can't package something as a vegan steak or like vegan chicken. Right. You can't say that anymore because it's not chicken. Like vegan chicken is not chicken. Right. Like, so you can't have plant-based food be marketed and sold as meat, which I fully support, right? Like I'm 100% behind that. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. Especially like I said, coming from a country like France, I'm shocked, but I think that's a huge win for common sense.
Oh boy. No, I agree. I agree with the move somehow. I don't know how the fuck I agree with fucking anything France did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's it's one of those things where if it were a different industry, it would be almost considered like cheap marketing or like misleading, I think would be maybe the right word.
Yeah.
But because it's like vegan shit, everyone's like, oh, it's cool. So it's like, no, it's
Yeah,
not
that
cool.
would be
You could,
like this is a Honda Rolls Royce,
yeah, but
right?
like
Like
actually being able to like market it that way, yeah, it's
yeah,
weird.
like oh, this is the Honda Rolls Royce. It's like no, it's a Honda. It's not a Rolls Royce, right? Like I don't care that it says Rolls Royce on the fucking grill. It's a Honda.
Yeah,
That's kind of what they're doing, right? By saying things like vegan cheese, right? Like that's it's not
yeah, that
cheese.
shit ate cheese.
Yeah. Or
Shit's
plant
like
it's
fucking plastic.
or plant-based butter. It's not butter. Right. So like all of those things are now no longer able to be said.
I like that. We should do that here. We won't.
But like we won't. But people are losing their minds in France because they're like the climate people. Because they're like, whoa, well now, now people are gonna find these less appealing. It's like, well, yeah,
Well, if they find it
no
less
shit.
appealing, then that means they're not very appealing. Done deal.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's
which
not
kind
fucking
of
steak. That's the thing is like what
right,
basically it's like, oh, um, people are gonna find it less appealing, aka we can't trick anybody into eating this shit.
right. And they're like, oh, we need to save the climate. We need to do this. So we have meat is bad. Remember, meat and dairy is bad. So we need to have people not eat it. So if we can't call it meat and dairy, how are we supposed to be able to save the world? And it's like
The
it
climate's
brings
fucked
me it
anyway.
brings me to another point that blows my mind with these people that if you're a vegan, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're a vegan because you're trying to save the world or you're trying to not support animal cruelty or if you're just a vegan because you're a fucking weirdo, right? Because some people think that humans are supposed to be vegan. It's like no, that's not how that works. We evolved over tens of thousands of years as omnivores. We're supposed to eat both, right? We shouldn't eat just a carnivore diet. We shouldn't eat just a vegan diet. We should have a mix of both, right? But without getting too deep down that rabbit hole. My gripe with the vegan people, right? Like your whole shtick is that you don't eat animal products. Animal products are bad, right? Again, for whatever reason this people chose to be vegan. Why then do you insist on eating something that looks like and is labeled as something that you don't theoretically like? Right? Like if you think steak is bad, why do you want to eat a vegan steak? Because that makes no sense to me. If you're going to go around and tell people, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm getting at?
Because
Like,
these
if
people are
you say
assholes.
if you say that meat is bad, why do you need to make vegan meat options? You don't like meat. Just eat vegan shit. Just eat plants. Like, why do you need to take those plants and make it look like and taste like meat? What's the fucking point?
It's like any allergy, like gluten free. It's like, oh wow, this is a gluten-free cake. And it's like,
My favorite is when they put
bro,
the gluten-free sticker on meat. Like if you buy a package of chicken and there just says gluten-free, it's like, wow, this is where we are, huh? As a
yeah.
society.
But yeah, it's like one of those things like, oh well, I'm gluten-free, whether you're celiac or not. And it's like, but I can't not eat cookies and cakes. Well, again, like as someone who will not tolerate lactose, until I found the Talenti coffee sorbetto, whatever, I just didn't eat ice cream for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I didn't eat dairy-free ice cream because I can't eat the regular stuff. Like I just sat there and it's like I can't eat ice cream, so on to something else. But yeah, it's like a weird, it's got to be like I bet you like a psychologist that isn't an asshole, which if that even exists, I doubt it, but
Yeah, good luck.
they could like explain the idea behind like you feel so strongly about something, yet you can't, like you're so strongly against something, but you can't just like give it all away like entirely. Like you're still like hanging on to like a phony idea. It's like, oh well, I don't eat meat, but I have these great vegan meatballs that are like the same thing. And it's like, it's not the same thing. You told
No.
me doesn't have meat in it.
Yeah.
Can't be the same thing. By
Yeah.
definition, cannot be.
But like again, why do you want to eat something that represent or
Like I
replicates
said,
meat when you
this
don't like meat?
the psychologist that isn't an asshole can probably point to some type of mental illness that
Because there
like
are,
plagues
I'm
these
sure there
people.
are some vegans, right, out there that like literally just eat plants, right? They don't fuck with like the Beyond Burger or like any of that shit or the vegan steaks. Like I'm sure there are plenty of vegans out there that think that's dumb, right? And
Yeah.
they eat whatever
Yeah, and they
plants and
supplement with like plant-based
vegetables and fruits and
proteins.
stuff like that. Like I'm sure those people exist. But for the people that are like, "Oh, I'm vegan, but I'm going to get a double Beyond Meat burger from McDonald's." Like, what?
It's the
Does that
same.
make any
It's yeah.
fucking sense?
It's again. There's got to be.
Well,
I'm gonna. I
I
keep.
have to be able to go to McDonald's. So
Yeah.
now
I
I
like.
can have the Beyond Burger.
That's the thing is like what is McDonald's like hamburgers?
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm vegan and I must go to McDonald's. It's like no, you must go to a farm or some shit.
Yeah.
You
Go eat
must
some
go to the
fucking
produce
kale.
department.
Yeah.
Like, and that's I think that's like some of where again it's got to be. I know it's like it's almost like rude to people with like real diagnosable mental illness. It's got to be like a low grade mental illness. Like
Yeah.
that feeling that you like have to continue the facade even though you're swearing off it in a way.
Yeah. Is it like a form of cognitive dissonance?
You are talking the wrong dude. That's why I said we need to find a psychologist that's not an asshole.
Yeah, I
Because
feel like it may fall under the cognitive dissonance umbrella, where it's like this isn't meat, you're against meat, but you want to eat something that
like
resembles
still
meat.
resembles it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Let's just keep throwing out random
Because they
terms.
even go far, like I don't know, I don't know whether it's Beyond or whether it's Impossible, but one of those two companies has gone as far as like including like heme iron in their plant-based burger so that when you cook it there's like red juice that comes out that looks like the red juice out of a meat patty. And it's like, why? What are we doing? Like, what is the purpose behind that? And for those people that are like, because I know some people, right? Because there's always a bunch of fucking dum-dums around. There's some people that are like, well, it's healthier for you. So if I'm going to go to McDonald's, instead of getting a double cheeseburger, I'll get a double Impossible Burger. And it's
Bet you
like,
if we look at it, I bet you
well,
it's not.
it's not. It's not, because that Impossible Burger is created by using chemicals. Like, there's one ingredient in that hamburger, albeit I know it's frozen and fucking there's maybe some other added preservatives and ingredients because it's McDonald's. But like, if so, let's take McDonald's out of the equation. If you go to like you go to a grocery store, right, and you buy uh, a patty, a pre-made burger patty. There's one ingredient in that burger patty. It's ground beef, right? Like, that's it. It's ground beef. When you go and buy an Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger, there's like a million fucking ingredients in there. And it's all a bunch of shit that like you probably can't pronounce. It's like, well, no, it's healthy. It's good for you. No, you're retarded. And you know what? Keep eating them. And come to me when you're surprised that you get fucking colon cancer.
Oh, it's the Whopper. I couldn't find it.
Oh, the Impossible Whopper or something?
It's the Whopper. Can I get?
Is that the one they put heme iron in?
I don't know. What about? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's so bad. How do I Burger King nutrition? Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you right now off the top of my head, like, I don't think these are going to be much better at all. And the other thing too is it's like, so chemicals, yes, blah blah blah. Like, I was going to kind of look at it from just like just calories. Impossible Whopper 630, Whopper 670. It's actually not that bad.
All right, I got the ingredient list in a Beyond Meat patty. You ready for this? So again, for those people that don't know, the ingredients are listed by like the percentage. So like the first thing listed on your ingredient label is the most percentage there, and then it's on a descending order from there on. So the ingredients on the Beyond Meat burger: water is the number one ingredient. Then it's pea protein, expeller pressed canola oil, refined coconut oil, rice protein, natural flavors, dried yeast, cocoa butter, methyl cellulose, potato starch, salt, potassium chloride, beet juice color, apple extract, pomegranate concentrate, sunflower lecithin, vinegar, lemon juice concentrate, zinc sulfate, niacinamide, pyridoxine hydrochloride, cyanocobalamin, and calcium pantothenate. That's the ingredient list.
And all that saves you 40 calories.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty good. Yeah, but it's good for you.
Yep. Sounds great for you, actually.
Yeah. There was one of them, maybe it's the Impossible Burger that has like some sketchy fucking ingredients. I don't know. I can't find that ingredient list. Oh, it is the Impossible Burger is the one that puts heme in their burger to make it look like it has the red juice coming out. So I mean, I guess good on France, right? For actually doing this.
I'll give France credit.
Yeah.
Like, something.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why I said, like, I'm curious to see you know, what the, if any, if there are reverberations for the rest of the world around this kind of stuff. But like
Probably
you
not
said,
here.
I think it's telling that there's like the climate people that are like, oh, well, we need to do it. And if people don't see this, then how are they going to know to do it or whatever? It's to your point, like I said, well, then you're just tricking people into eating this because it sucks.
Yeah.
If
That's
the
it.
only reason someone's going to buy it is because it says vegan steak and now it has to say like vegan, I don't even know what you would call it. If you
Vegan
can't,
loaf.
yeah, vegan loaf. If you can't call it steak, like then no, then your product sucks, basically, right? So that's fun. So um let's see what else we got here. Um oh, this one I'm gonna have to look up on my phone because my computer is way too slow. So Jan Wenner? Jan Venner? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But he is the founder of Rolling Stone magazine. Jan Wenner was just kicked out of the, or kicked off the board of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because there were comments that he made that were deemed racist and sexist. So let me see if I can find
Who is this person?
the creator of Rolling Stone magazine.
Okay, the creator.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is what happened. So before we get into like this actual story, I've listened to a podcast, the Joe Rogan podcast, where Jan Wenner was on it. And Joe Rogan's pretty liberal. Like he's relatively left leaning. He's like a common sense left leaning person. And Jan Wenner was on his show and they just went at it. Like Jan was like a very far left thinker to the point where like Joe was getting kind of like combative during their podcast. Just about some of the things that he was saying and it was just ignorance, right? Like I forget what he said. He just like made some claim about something and Joe was like, "No, that's not true." Like and he like looked, he had Jamie look it up and it like came out and he was like, "Look, like this is it. This is the evidence. Like where did you get this other thing?" Which was like kind of fucked up because Jan Wenner, again, he's the founder of a magazine where, you know, it's journalists that are writing articles and shit. You would think that someone like that would like have their facts straight, but he clearly didn't. So again, Jan Wenner, very, very left leaning to the point of like ignorance. So recently, he wrote a book called The Masters. And in his book, he interviewed musicians of the following musicians: Bob Dylan, Jerry Garcia, Mick Jagger, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, Pete Townsend, and Bono. One of those things is not like the other, right? It's fucking Bono. But either way, Bob Dylan, Jerry Garcia, Mick Jagger, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, Pete Townsend, and Bono.
I'll say, isn't all of them alive except one?
Um, Two. I think Jerry Garcia is dead.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, John Lennon and Jerry Garcia, I think, are dead. Everyone else is alive. So what do all of those musicians have in common?
Well, since you prefaced it, I'll just throw it out that they are all, in fact, white, I believe.
Yes, they are all, in fact, white males. So he was questioned as to why he didn't interview any women or black people. And Wenner, again, keep in mind, who is a very far left leaning individual, responded that It's not that they're inarticulate, although go have a deep conversation with Grace Slick or Janis Joplin. Please be my guest. You know, Joni Mitchell was not a philosopher of rock and roll. She didn't, in my mind, meet that test. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of probably not a good look, right? But
well, that answer is also incoherent nonsense because it didn't like it. He goes, well, his answer was, well, it's not that they're whatever, and then just gave examples of
right,
that.
right. And then,
So yeah, good answer, dude.
and then he goes, of black artists, you know, Stevie Wonder is a genius, right? I suppose when you use a word as broad as masters, the fault is using that word. Maybe Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield. I mean, they just didn't articulate at that level.
So when he says articulate, does he mean like intelligence in that word, that sense, or am I don't know, it's just a weird word to use.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's
a
very
weird
strange.
word. What is that like? How does that fit? I don't know. I don't get that.
And now he came out and said, or during this interview where he got all these questions, he said, here's another quote from him. Just from a public relations sake, maybe I should have gone and just found one black man and one woman artist to include here that didn't measure up to the same historical standard, just to avert this kind of criticism. So again, you have this guy who is very far left leaning that like people are attacking him for a book that he wrote about the best musicians in his mind that he's met with, right? So like, again, Jerry Garcia and John Lennon have been dead for decades. So I would imagine that his interviews with them and whatever articles he wrote about them were from decades ago, right? Like maybe when he wrote something on Mick Jagger, maybe he didn't just talk to Mick Jagger last week, right? Like there's all of these, you know, people throughout history, and then, you know, obviously the ones that I highlighted at the top, all of them. It's just still so weird that Bono is part of it, but whatever. All white males, but like he is now saying, well, maybe I just should have interviewed a black person and a woman and put them in my book so that people wouldn't do this to me. It's like a book on, it's basically his opinion, right? It's, if you ask someone who are the best musicians of all time, right? And it just so happens that this guy co-founded a magazine that was all about rock and roll, the Rolling Stone magazine, which as of more recently, it's become politicized, but you know, until 2007, maybe 2010, it was like a music magazine, right? It was journalism about musicians. And you just ask this guy, who are the best musicians, basically, because he wrote a book about it. And you're giving him grief because the people in his opinion of the best musicians that he spoke to, right? Like maybe he thinks Jimi Hendrix is one of the best musicians of all time, but maybe he didn't get a chance to talk to Jimi Hendrix because Jimi Hendrix died when he was 27, right? Like maybe Rolling Stone wasn't founded until after Jimi Hendrix died. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
so I
don't know
guess
that.
you almost got a twofold issue here. One, this guy is a fucking dumbass
Yes.
because his answers suck.
Yes.
Because he could have absolutely answered the questions in a very non-confrontational, non-controversial way. He could have been said, hey, you know, I was commissioned to pick, you know, who do I think was a true master of rock and roll, and this is who I picked. And you're like, yeah, you don't have to agree. or yeah, it's like, you know what, hey, you know, I was limited to who I interviewed when they were active or whatever. You know, would I have loved to have interviewed Jimi Hendrix? Yep, just couldn't do it. Now, whether he believes it or not, who gives a shit? It sounds right.
Right.
But then again, it's the same stupid ass line of questioning. So I saw some on Instagram. I don't know what show, I don't know what movie, I don't know who these people were. I don't know anything. I do know that there was going to be something with an all Danish cast. The
Oh
whole
yeah.
cast was going to be
Yeah,
Danish.
this was great. This was Mads Mikkelsen, who was Lashif
Yes.
in James Bond.
And allow me to paraphrase, but when they were like, it's an all Danish cast, it doesn't really leave too much to the imagination here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was great. I saw that video. Someone asked Mads Mikkelsen during like a panel discussion about the movie. They were on a press tour for the movie. And they're like, well, I noticed that there's not a lot of diversity in the cast here. And he goes, whoa, no, stop right there. He goes, stop. We're not doing this. It was like the movie takes place in 1750 in Sweden or wherever the fuck. He goes, what do you think the diversity was in 1750 Sweden? He goes, we're not doing this. He goes, I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying to bait me into. He goes, we're not having this discussion. And he goes, next question.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a fucking fantastic response. And I love Mads Mikkelsen even more, who more recently, if anyone doesn't know him as Lashif, he was the stand-in as Gellert Grindelwald in the Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts spinoff when they had to kick Johnny Depp to the curb because of his legal troubles, which ended up being dismissed anyway. So big whoopsie there on Warner Brothers, I think, that owns them, from kicking Johnny Depp off the movie and bringing in Mads Mikkelsen. But I mean, I do like him as an actor. I think he's great. He's in a bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, you may as well have been speaking fucking Elvish to me. Whatever the fuck you just said.
You know some Harry Potter. You don't know the prequel stuff though, right? You haven't seen those.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually almost like so that yeah. So again, the guy with the go to like kind of wrap it up, going back to the Rolling Stone, that guy's just dumb. Like he doesn't know how to fucking answer the question.
Yeah.
You could have answered the question and it could have been done with. But nope. Had to spout off like a fucking idiot. So I actually think that any criticism that now comes to him, he has earned because he can't answer interview questions. So is it right, wrong, or indifferent? No, if he wants to make a list of masters, it should be who he thinks are the masters. And if he has the platform as like Rolling Stone founder, then you get what you get with him.
Right.
Now, if you want to get someone that's going to give you all like black musicians, well, find someone who specializes in black music history. They'll give you what you want.
Right.
Just find the right person. But yeah, I think like so whatever criticism comes to him, whether it's fair or unfair, he should have to deal with because he can't fucking talk himself out of it. That's on that part's on him.
So let's see. Rolling Stone magazine was their first issue came out in November of 1967. So I don't know if Jimi Hendrix was alive then or not.
When was Woodstock? 69.
69. Yeah. So Hendrix died in 1970. So yeah, I don't know. Who knows? He's a fucking
not me.
Yeah. You want to start wrapping this up?
We can wrap this up.
All right. What do you got?
So I was looking at some Pebble Beach real estate the other day. And by looking, I mean it popped up on my Instagram. So it was an old listing. And the house is actually, it's been photographed fairly well because it's directly behind the 11th green and 12th tee. It's like you would need to be looking for it to like recognize. Like you're not going to recognize the house. Like no one that's insane.
Yeah.
But it's a house that's seen fairly common, or it's seen a lot of coverage because it's right by the 11th green. It comes back up the hill from 10, and it is like right fucking there. Like there is nothing blocking it from the golf course. And all it would take to own that house is a cool $31 million.
Holy shit.
$31 million.
I was going to guess 21. And that would be 10 million too short.
So I could look up what it actually sold for, but that's what it was listed for earlier in the year.
Wow.
And I mean, it's right there and it's like nice and whatever, but like, holy shit, 31 million. And it's actually funny.
Oh,
well, I was just going to say, because Michaela looked it up and I don't know if it's still active. It might have got sold or pulled, whatever. It's like, it's funny because like there are houses available. Like there's a sum of houses. It's not like you can't get one, but it's like,
Right.
it is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
What it costs to have a house there. It's actually, it is so fucking expensive. Because one of Michaela's questions, she goes like, where do people like go to the grocery store? Like where, like, do they go to school? Like what is this? But it's like, these houses are so fucking expensive that the only people that can afford them, it's their second, third, fourth, fifth house, whatever it is.
It's their vacation house.
It's the only people that can afford it don't live there. Like they're never there.
Right.
Fucking stupid. It's like one of the most ass backwards things that you can think of.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what a beautiful place and what a great area. And the weather's generally pretty good. It's a little shitty in the winter, but whatever. And it's like, wow, such a nice house and like proximity to this, whatever. And it's like, yeah, never there.
Yeah.
I use it maybe 5 times a year. Like,
isn't it funny how houses are like the opposite with super expensive houses versus like a regular house? So like right now, a house that gets listed for like $350,000 might sell for like $475,000, right? It could sell for like $125,000 over asking.
yeah,
but when
which
you
is
get
like
these
a
like
35%
right,
more.
but when you get these like mega mansions that get listed for like $50 million or $30 million, they might sell, like the 50 million might sell for like 42, and like the 30 million might sell for like 26. But it's hilarious that like regular houses sell for, like you said, 30 to 40% more, but the like mega houses sell for like 10 to 15% less.
Well, that's because, and again, going back to like some of the like the point I was just trying to make, like these cheap houses, those are homes. Like those are people's homes and primary residences. Like people fucking need that.
Yeah.
These fucking other things, they may as well just be like a fucking coin or some shit. Like, like that's the thing is like, I think it was like the son's owner. He already has a place there, bought another one, leveled the fucking house. Like, it may have been a $20 million purchase just to level the house.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're almost not talking reality.
Yeah.
Or a reality that you and I and no one listening to this, I bet you there's not one person here who knows someone that could even be in the same conversation or same like fucking galaxy as like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It is a very, very, very specific type of like person that can do this shit.
Yeah, spend $30 million on a house.
And again, like I said, it ain't their primary residence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you own a $30 million house, that means you own at least 10 million in other houses.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Stupid.
That's insane.
And I guarantee like somewhere in like the 17-mile drive, like within the gates of the 17-mile drive, someone bought a house for like fucking 50K in like 1962. And like that was a shitload of money back then, or it probably was a shitload of money. Like that was probably an expensive house.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go like a few years back, but I don't know, whatever. Figure it out. And like they've just like sat, like the family's just like sat on it and like kept it. And it's like it might be nice and they might do okay, but it's nothing like these fucking mansions.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, we've been living here since the 60s. Like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm a retired teacher. It's like, what do you do? I own multiple sports teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Shit like that is wild. But you do get that.
It's like a bit. It's a bit. It's like if you really sit down and think about it, it's fucking cuckoo. Like, take the richest person that you personally know right now, and like think about that person.
Yeah, it's a lot to fathom, right? Because like, not that I know someone that makes this much, but like just to imagine someone makes $10 million a year, right? That is a fuck ton of money to make $10 million a year.
And that person can't afford
That person can't afford a $30 million house.
It's fucking crazy.
That's wild. You make $10 million a year and you cannot afford a $30 million.
Yeah, like we're talking Michael Jordan, who makes what, $700K a day? Was that what the number was? Is that what Nico sent us?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, $700K a day from Nike.
Yeah. Yeah, just from Nike.
Someone who makes a lot of money in Massachusetts, but like they're a regular person, but they make a lot of money. They don't make $700K in they make it in 5 years, we'll say. Just to like throw a number out there, because that's like just under, that's like 150 a year ish. Yeah, and a little less. And like that person does well. He makes it in one day. Every day. One day, every day.
That's insane. That's what I mean. Like, there's levels, right? Like there's rich, and then there's like,
if I had a week of his passive income, I could almost retire.
Yeah. But then
because that's what
even more, right? Like there's always, it's like that saying, there's always a bigger fish, right? Like what's it from Star Wars? There's always a bigger fish. Like, you look at, again, use my example of someone that makes $10 million a year. That's a lot of money. They can't afford that. Then you have someone like Michael Jordan that makes however much he makes in a year. He's a billionaire, right? He's worth like $1 billion. But then you have someone like, Larry Ellison, right? The CEO of Oracle, that's probably worth like $10 billion. Right? Like, he probably looks at Michael Jordan and laughs. And then you have Elon Musk, who's worth, what is he, like $150 billion or something like that?
But I was going to say, there's probably some Chinese businessman that's worth like, got to be some guy out there.
The Saudi royal family. There's rumors that the Saudi royal family has $1 trillion.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like,
if not multiple,
there's always a bigger fish. Like, when you think you can fathom how much money someone has, there's someone else that has way fucking more, right? Like, there's fucking levels to this shit. Let me see what Elon Musk's net worth is. $262 billion.
Jesus Christ. That is so much fucking money.
So he can look at Michael Jordan and be like, fuck you, you fucking pussy.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like Tiger Woods he's
small fish.
He's a billionaire. He's a small fish in the billionaire world.
Small fish.
$262 billion. Elon Musk. And then again, if you look at the Saudi royal family that has $1 trillion, $1 trillion, that would be Elon Musk times 4. That's fucking insane. That's complete insanity. But yeah. Oh, I make $150,000 a year. I do great.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, that's cute. I mean, Not to knock someone that makes $150,000 a year. That's way more than I
No, that's
make,
why, like
right?
I said
That
earlier,
would be cool.
I go,
I would be thrilled to make that
yeah,
in a
that's
year.
why I said earlier, I go, that person makes a lot of money. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that is pretty good.
Right. But
Like
like someone that makes 150
I would
grand,
take that tomorrow.
you're not rich. Right? Like you might be a little bit wealthy, like you might be richer than average, right? But you're not rich. Like I wouldn't call someone that makes $150,000 a year rich.
No, especially if they're like working for somebody. No way, because
Yeah.
that could be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you just have like a decent job that pays 150, it's like, listen, you do good. And again, sign me up for the 150, but yeah, again, that's good.
Yeah.
But again, the big thing for me too is it's like, if you don't own it, or like say you owned your own accounting practice and you made like 150, it's like you're gonna be a lot richer than someone who works for like a software company making 150 because you own that shit.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I guess I'll be putting off my Pebble Beach real estate purchase for a few years.
Yeah, just a couple of years.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah. Yeah. Start saving now.
I guess I'll go back to work tomorrow.
Oh boy. All right. Well, my final thought will be relatively brief, but so Amy and I have been obviously doing a lot of watching of TV, right? So it's kind of all we do at this point is hang around with the baby and wait for it to tell us that it needs to eat or shit or whatever. And then we do as it commands. We either feed it or change the diaper. You know what I mean? It's like the child runs the house already. He's fucking 2 weeks old and he is already in command of everything.
That kid get a job yet or what?
No, he's a freeloading Canadian.
Jesus Christ.
So in my travels, I watched the new Shane Gillis stand-up special on Netflix. It's called Beautiful Dogs, and it is absolutely fucking hilarious. In a climate where people are very sensitive to things of what you can and can't say, he gives zero fucks. I think he said the word retarded like 15 times or something like that. Like he also was he was like calling people gay, being like, that's gay. Don't be a fucking queer. Like it was hilarious to just see someone have a Netflix special, right? And like really not give any fucks and like not censor himself. And I like Shane Gillis. I've followed Shane Gillis for a few years now. He's become a friend of Joe Rogan and has been on the Joe Rogan podcast over the years, which is how I got to know who he was. He has his own podcast where he does like history stuff, but he's a comedian and he's a booze bag. So like in a way, it's kind of like drunk history. But I highly, highly recommend Shane Gillis, his new stand-up special on Netflix called Beautiful Dogs. He also does a Donald Trump impersonation that if you close your eyes, you think it's Trump. Like it is 1000% spot on. And it is absolutely like piss your pants funny. So there's no holds barred. He goes after autistic people. It's hilarious. It's pretty fucking funny. But he puts a spin on it too. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like he puts a spin on it where it almost like allows him to tell the stories. And it's pretty fucking good. Like I said, I highly recommend it. So go check it out on Netflix. Shane Gillis, Beautiful Dogs there. So that is going to do it for us. So thank you all for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe up top. Hit the like button down below. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're an audio only listener too. If you happen to be using Spotify or Apple, you can leave us a review over there. So go do that, please, and thank you. Much appreciated. Tell everybody you know about the show. Help spread the word and get more viewers out there so we can get some other, sponsors and perks, and who the fuck knows. We're big in Bangladesh. I think it might have been one person that just subscribed to the show, but we got like over 100 downloads in Bangladesh, like over the last like week or something. So shout out to the homie in Bangladesh.
Is that enough to buy my Pebble Beach mansion?
Yeah, not quite, not yet.
Fuck.
So this is what we have to do. If you guys keep telling enough people about the show, we can get some like legitimate sponsors, and then we can make enough money where we can buy a Pebble Beach house. And then, you guys can come hang out there. I can say that because we're never gonna, never gonna have it. But I'll say it. If you guys do your part and we can buy a Pebble Beach house, you're welcome. You're all more than welcome. So yeah, you can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod, or on Twitter at Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook page is Sarcasm Speaks, website sarcasmspeaks.com. You go to our merch store, buy some merch. You can also go to mybookie.com and use the promo code SarcasmPod when you sign up to double your first deposit up to $1,000, as well as noonbrew.com. You go over there, use the promo code in the show notes, and that will get you 10% off your order every single time you check out. And then lastly, we have the Ice Pod. If you go to the Ice Pod, or I think it's the podcompany.com or .co maybe, I don't fucking know. Just Google it. It'll figure it out. And use the promo code again below. You will get $10 off your purchase and free shipping over there. So that is going to do it for us. Until next time, good night, everybody.